So yesterday we have studied the preparation of colloids. Colloids can be prepared by three methods, namely chemical methods, Bradig's arc method and then peptization. Out of these three, Bradig's arc method and peptizations are important. So what is peptization? Conversion of a freshly prepared precipitate into a colloidal solution by the addition of an electrolyte having a common ion is known as peptization. The electrolyte used is called a peptizing agent. So example I have given you during the preparation of ferric hydroxide. When ferric chloride solution is added into boiling water, we will get positively charged ferric hydroxide. So this is what is known as peptization. So now we will study purification of salts. So why salts should be purified? During the preparation of salts, sometimes electrolytes are added or in sometimes electrolytes are liberated during preparations. If these excess electrolytes are not removed from the colloidal solution, these electrolytes causes precipitation of the salts. Therefore, we have to remove excess electrolytes. The process of or the removal of excess electrolytes and other crystalloids from colloidal solution is known as purification. So purification can be done by the following methods. So first method is dialysis. So this is also very important. You will be asked what is dialysis. The removal of excess electrolytes and other crystalloids from colloidal solution by diffusion through semi-permeable membrane is known as dialysis, and the apparatus used is called dialyzer. So what is dialysis? The removal of excess electrolytes and or crystalloids. The removal of excess electrolytes or the crystalloids. What are crystalloids? Crystalloids are the particles which are present in true solution from colloidal solution by diffusion through semi-permeable membrane is called dialysis. The apparatus used is called dialyzer. So what is the simple procedure adopted during dialysis? For example, this is a parchment bag or a semi-permeable bag in which impure colloidal solution is taken. So this is the impure colloidal solution which is taken in parchment bag. Parchment bag means it is a semi-permeable membrane. It is a semi-permeable membrane bag. It is suspended in a tank containing running water. This is a tank containing running water. So water will enter from this side. So water will goes out of this tank. So what is there in the parchment bag? So this is parchment bag. It is nothing but semi-permeable membrane bag and it is colloidal solution. This is impure colloidal solution which contains excess electrolytes and other impurities. What happens? The impurities such as electrolytes and other crystalloids will diffuse out of the bag, leaving behind pure colloidal particles in the bag. So, crystalloids and other electrolytes or ions diffuse out of the bag and goes along with the running water, leaving behind pure colloidal solution in the bag. This is what is known as dialysis. What is the use of dialysis? Where dialysis is used? Dialysis is used in the purification of blood from the patient suffering from diabetes using an artificial dialyzer called kidney machine. What happens? The positive ions or the salt solutions diffuse out of the kidney machine, whereas hemoglobin particles will remain in the dialyzer. So, this is the application of dialysis. So, second method is electrodialysis. This is electrodialysis. So, this is ordinary dialysis and it is a slow process. It can be made fast by introducing two electrodes outside the membrane. This is anode and this one is cathode. So, by applying electric field across the membrane, what happens? The positive ions are attracted by cathode and negative ions are attracted by anode. As a result, what happens? The diffusion becomes fast and this process is known as electrodialysis. The process of electrolysis is accelerated by applying electric field across the membrane. That is what is known as electroosmosis. During electroosmosis, the ions or the electrolytes which are present in the impure colloidal solutions are attracted by the oppositely charged electrodes. As a result, the dialysis becomes fast. That is what is known as electrodialysis. Coming to another method, that is third method, that is known as ultrafiltration. So, this is the third method for the purification of colloidal solution. So, suppose this is an ordinary filter paper and its pores are very big. When colloidal solutions are filtered through these ordinary filter paper, colloidal particles will also pass through the pores and they cannot be retained. So, when this ordinary filter paper is converted into ultra filter and then on filtration, we can purify colloidal solutions. So, what is ultrafiltration? When colloidal solution are filtered through ultrafilters, what happens? The colloidal particles will remain on the ultrafilter, whereas the medium, dispersion medium and other impurities pass out. Then the colloidal particles are then the pure colloidal particles are suspended in pure dispersion medium to get pure colloidal solution. Pure colloidal solution. So, how to make ultrafilters? To prepare ultrafilters. So, how to prepare ultrafilters? Suppose this is an ordinary filter paper. When colloidal solutions are filtered through ordinary filter papers, all the particles will pass through the ordinary filter paper. But when these ordinary filter paper are dipped in ordinary filter paper is dipped in collodion. What is collodion? It contains 4% solution of nitrocellulose in a solution of mixture of in a solution of alcohol and ether. So 4% nitrocellulose. Nitrocellulose is dissolved in a solution of alcohol and ether and then hardened in formaldehyde and dried. So we will get ultrafilter. To get ultrafilters. So this is how ultrafilters are prepared. How to prepare ultrafilters? Ordinary filter paper is taken. It is dipped in collodion. What is collodion? 4% solution of nitrocellulose in solution of alcohol and ether, and it is hardened. The paper is hardened by dipping in formaldehyde and dried. Thus you will get ultrafilters. So now the size of the pores of filter paper is reduced so that they can retain only colloidal particles and the rest will be filtered off. Suppose this is ordinary filter paper. By converting it into ultrafilter, the pore size will be reduced. Pore size, hole size will be reduced so that these pores can retain colloidal particles. So what is this one? This is ultrafilter. When colloidal solution is filtered through ultrafilters, the colloidal particles will remain on the ultrafilter and the impurities pass down. Then these colloidal particles are distributed in fresh dispersion medium to get pure colloidal solution. Now coming to the properties of colloids. Some physical properties. Number 1, colloids, colloidal solution are heterogeneous system. Heterogeneous system. Colloidal solution is an heterogeneous system consisting of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Number 2, colloidal particles can pass through ordinary filter paper, but cannot pass through semi-permeable membrane. Cannot pass through semi-permeable membrane. Number 3, colloidal particles show different colors. Colloidal particles show different colors depending upon the nature and size of the particles, and their color also depends on the wavelength of the light scattered. For example, so very fine particles of gold means very small colloidal particles are red in color. As the size of the particles increases, the color changes to violet, and if the size improves or increases further, the color changes to golden color. So that is why the colloidal particles shows different color. The different colors of colloidal particles depends upon the size of the colloidal particles, nature of the colloidal particles, and also on the wavelength of the light scattered. For example, very small colloidal particles of gold are red in color. If the size of the particle increases further, their color changes to violet. If the size increases further, they changes to golden color. And fourth property, colligative properties. Colligative property values of colloidal solutions are less. They show the colligative property values, namely elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, osmotic pressure of colloidal solutions are less. Why they are less? Because the particles undergo association. Since the particles undergo association, the number of particles in the solution decreases and the colligative property value also decreases, because the colligative property values depends upon the number of particles of solute in the solution. Association undergoes association, number of particles decreases, and colligative property also decreases. So then, coming to another property, very important property, namely optical property. Under that, Tyndall effect. So, coming to the properties of colloidal solutions, optical property is important. Under that, Tyndall effect. What is Tyndall effect? So, you might have observed in the cinema hall. So, the light coming from the projector room and onto the screen can be absorbed by the viewers which are sitting perpendicular to the rays of light. So, the visibility of light from the projector room onto the screen is due to the scattering of colloidal particles, namely dust and smoke, which are present in the hall. What is Tyndall effect? The scattering of light by the colloidal particles is known as Tyndall effect, named after the scientist Tyndall. So, when a beam of light is passed through a colloidal solution, the path of the beam in the solution can be observed due to Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect. For example, so this is a colloidal solution and this is a source of light. Suppose this is a lens. So when light is passed through the colloidal solution, so suppose this is colloidal solution, the path of the beam in the colloidal solution can be observed. So this beam illuminated path is known as Tyndall beam or Tyndall cone. Tyndall beam or Tyndall cone. What happens? This is source of light and this one is lens. This one is colloidal solution. So when a beam of light is passed through colloidal solution, the path of the beam in the colloidal solution can be observed. This is due to Tyndall effect. Why this path is observed? Because the particles scatter the light, therefore we can observe this beam, or this beam is known as Tyndall beam or Tyndall cone. So that is what is known as scattering. Scattering of light by the colloidal particles is known as Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect is observed when a beam of light is passed through colloidal solution. So the path of the beam can be observed only when the light is scattered by the colloidal particles. So then coming to examples for Tyndall effect. Number one, the color of the sky or ocean is blue due to Tyndall effect. Due to Tyndall effect. Number two, as I have told you, the color of the colloidal particles are due to size, due to nature, and also due to the wavelength of light scattered. The color of the sky is blue because of scattering of light by the colloidal particles which are present in the atmosphere or above the ocean. Number two, visibility of a beam of light passing through a small hole into a dark room containing smoke or dust. So you might have observed when when a beam of light is passing through a small hole into a dark room, the beam of the light is observed only when the room is filled with smoke or dust. That is Tyndall effect. So the beam can be observed only when the light is scattered by smoke particles or dust particles. Similarly, third example, visibility of beam of light from the projector room onto the screen in the cinema hall. And lastly, visibility of circus light. So circus people will send a beam of light which can be viewed by so many people which are far from the circus. This is due to the scattering of light by the dust particles or smoke particles present. So this is definition of Tyndall effect. This is how we can show Tyndall effect, and these are the examples for Tyndall effect. Then what are the conditions to observe Tyndall effect? This is also very important. Conditions to observe Tyndall effect. The first condition is, number 1, the size of the colloidal particles. What is the size of the colloidal particles? The size is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and the wavelength of the scattered light should be almost same. So this is the first condition. The size of the colloidal particles and the wavelength of the scattered light should be almost same. Then only you can observe Tyndall effect. Number 2, Tyndall effect is not shown by true solutions because the size of the particles in true solution is less than 1 nanometer. That is the reason why true solutions do not show Tyndall effect. And the second condition is the refractive index. The refractive indices of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium should differ to a large extent. That means the difference of refractive index between dispersed phase and dispersion medium should be very much differ. Then only we can observe Tyndall effect. These are the two conditions for Tyndall effect to be observed. Number 1, the size of the particle should be similar to the wavelength of the light scattered. Number 2, the refractive index of dispersed phase and dispersion medium should be differ to a large extent. The second property of colloidal solutions is kinetic property, namely Brownian movement. This is also very important. So what is Brownian movement? So based on the principle of Tyndall effect, Zsigmondy constructed a microscope known as ultra microscope. So when colloidal particles, suppose this is a colloidal solution, when colloidal particles are observed through ultra microscope, the colloidal particles in the solutions appear like bright light speaks and are continuously moving from one place to another place. So this movement of colloidal particles is known as Brownian movement. This is known as Brownian movement. So similar movement is named after the scientist Robert Brown, who observed the same movement when pollen grains are suspended in water. So what is the definition of Brownian movement? The zigzag movement of dispersed phase particles in the dispersion medium is known as Brownian movement. Brownian movement. The zigzag or random movement of dispersed phase particles. Dispersed phase particles means colloidal particles in dispersion medium, or you can write zigzag movement of colloidal particles. Colloidal particles are nothing but dispersed phase particles in the dispersion medium is known as Brownian movement, named after the scientist Robert Brown, who observed this movement for the first time using ultra microscope. These movements are very similar to the movement of pollen grains suspended in water. So Brownian movement depends on the size of the colloidal particles, and number 2, the viscosity of the solution. So if the size is less, if the size of the particles is less and the viscosity is low, then Brownian movement is high. So when the movement of the particles will be more, when the size of the particle is less and the viscosity of the solution is less. So if the viscosity becomes more, the solution becomes thick, then the particles cannot move freely, therefore the speed decreases. That means Brownian movement depends upon the size of the colloidal particles as well as the viscosity of the solution. If the size of the particles is less, viscosity is low, then the Brownian movement is high. Then why Brownian movement is due to? The Brownian movement is due to continuous bombardment or collision of colloidal particles with the dispersion medium. So due to continuous bombardment or collision of colloidal particles with the dispersion medium particles. When there is collision between dispersed phase and dispersion medium particles, the colloidal particles will acquire energy and hence they will move in zigzag motion. Then Brownian movement is also responsible for the stability of the colloid. So for the colloids to be in the colloidal form, the particles should always in continuous zigzag motion. If the movement is less, what happens? The colloidal particles unite together and then the size will grow and they will settle. Therefore, Brownian movement is also responsible for the stability of the Sol or colloidal particles. So this is the definition of Brownian movement. This is very important. Brownian movement depends upon the size of the particles as well as the viscosity. If both are less, the Brownian movement is high. So Brownian movement is due to what anta keltare. The Brownian movement is due to continuous bombardment of dispersed phase particles with dispersion medium particles. So Brownian movement is also responsible for the stability of the colloids.